Bienvenido, muchas gracias por estar en el canal. Bienvenido, hombre. Es una larga trayectoria que has tenido, pero no, yo quisiera pues felicitarlo por todo y quisiera preguntarte acerca sobre la evolución de todo su trabajo en el cine, ¿no? Porque Andrés está pendiente del tema de los videojuegos, así que coméntame un poco.
John is welcoming to the channel. Is telling you that you got a really, really long resume. So he's going to focus now on your career on movies. I will later do the questions from the video games and anime. But John, ask you, how do you see the evolution of your career as an actor in live action or in movies? Because your career go bad early in time in a lot of series of and movies. So tell us about that aspect of your career.
Yeah, well, as most actors begin their careers, for the most part, well, I'm not so sure about now, but when I started, it was theater. We started in theater. Uh, I did theater out here in Los Angeles, and I trained in theater. And then when I finally decided to turn professional, I managed to get an agent who, my first job that I got was on it was a television movie of the week kind of a thing. It was called Police Story, and it was a 2 hour movie made for television. And that was my first job. And then I think my second job was actually on a film, a low budget film that was intended to be a pilot for a television series that it didn't sell. And then I went back and got television jobs on episodics and things like that for a while. And then I shifted. I started getting films, low budget, movies for a while, and then that shifted into. I got lucky and got jobs in anime and dubbing now. Now I'm in dubbing. I dub a lot of, not exclusively, but I dub a lot of foreign films into English. So the whole time I'm open to getting any kind of, just like most actors, we're open to getting any job that comes our way in between all of these phases of my career. When I was doing film work, I might get a stage job in between, or I might get a television, and vice versa. And that's how my career has gone. It's kind of, I wish I were in more control of it, but I'm not. So that's where I am now. Right now, most of my work is dubbing. But if you have a movie you want me to be in, I'll gladly be in it.
I'm gonna tell that to John while I'm translating. John dice que si tú tienes alguna película, y está hablando en general, donde quieras a Richard, que él está abierto porque, pues se ve rápido, empezó en el teatro, luego él hizo una película llamada Historia de Policía, Police Story, luego una película que iba a ser el piloto para una serie, y que, pues bueno, el piloto no se compró, de repente eso lo llevó, es que fue como por cosas del destino que él llegó al doblaje, aunque da una aclaración, ¿no? Él no es o sea, a pesar de que sí tiene unos roles bajo su nombre, nunca es, y esto es como una cosa rara del mundo del doblaje, no es como el doblador oficial, por así decirlo, ¿no? O sea, en cualquier momento, tú sabes, en Latinoamérica, no pueden cambiar quién dobla, Él dice que siempre entre cada proyecto a veces hace cosas en teatro, pero él dice que es un actor que está abierto a hacer cualquier cosa. Jhon, por favor, llámalo algún día o que alguien lo llame.
Por favor, sí. No solo pues felicitarlo, no solo por la película de TV Stranger, que fue muy buena. Así que puede seguir con los videojuegos.
And now it's my turn, man. I got two questions. And I will start with the most, I think the thing that the people ask you the most that are the anime. But I'm not going to talk because, and I will let you a trivia, by the way. I don't know if you know that the first voice of Kenshin Himura in Latin America is a Colombian. It's a Colombian. And it's crazy because now I'm interviewing the Kenshin Himura in the States. But I'm also happy because I, as an anime lover, I watch not only the big productions, but like the smaller ones. You appear in the Legend of the Millennium Dragon. Like here's what the Onigamiden. So yeah, man, how is crazy? What can you tell us in the many voices that you had made about this crazy ride doing dubbing in anime? And later I will ask you about video games because I got two favorite words in the whole and vast career that you got dubbing video games. But tell us about dubbing anime and being Kenshin Himura, by the way. But I got this t-shirt, no? You dub this character, Ryu.
Street Fighter.
Right? Yes. So I'm wearing it for this interview.
Well, I just got. I didn't pursue getting anime work at all. I was. It's kind of a typical actor story. I was painting a friend's house, and my friend was directing an anime series. It was called Soccer Boy, and you know the series. You do, yeah. Well, for your fans who may not know, it was about the World Cup soccer matches throughout history. And because every time they have a World Cup match, it's in a different country hosts it. So they needed actors who could do different accents and dialects. It was all in English, translated into English, but you know, if they had a match in French, they needed someone who could speak with a French accent, or if it was in Germany, it needed someone who could speak with a German accent, and there aren't that many actors who can do dialects and accents and also do dubbing and hit the lip movements and make it look like it's coming out of the characters' mouths. Most of the time, they don't want us to do any accents at all because a lot of actors who are dubbers don't do accents or dialects. So, but in this particular instance, they needed actors who could do different dialects. And I was painting their house, and my friend didn't want to use me because he didn't know whether I could do it. And that's understandable because, you know, you have to have a studio, that costs money. You're paying an engineer, that costs money. They have to pay me, the actor. Even if I'm bad, that costs money. They have to pay it. It's a lot of money, and they don't want to take a chance on hiring somebody who can't do it. My friend's wife knew that I could do the accents because we were at a party one time before, and I was messing around, excuse me, doing a lot of different accents and things like that, and we were just clowning. And so he called me in just to do what's called walla work. which is the background voices that you hear in a scene. We call it walla work because in the old days they used to just grab a secretary or a office boy and say, come into the studio, just stand in front of the microphone and say walla 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 walla. And so peas and carrots. Nowadays you have to actually, because the sound equipment is so sensitive and advanced, if they have somebody in the background who's supposed to be German and he's talking with a Spanish accent or an American accent, it can ruin the whole movie. So in this particular case, he hired me because of that. He didn't know if I could hit the sync and do it. So he just kept me in the background where it didn't matter. And then just to find out, there was one character who had one line. And he said, Richard, come up there and do this character. I said, okay. If I blew it, it wouldn't matter. We get somebody else to do it. Big deal. As it was, I hit it perfectly, right on cue, one take. And the rest of the fellows that were in the group were also directors themselves for dubbing projects, most of them anime. And so they remembered me, and the next thing you know, I get another job and another job and another job. And eventually I got an audition to do this character for this show called Kenshin. What was it called? It wasn't Rurouni Kenshin. It was Samurai X. That was the name of it. And we did 100 episodes of that. And then about a year later, it changed. They wanted to redo it entirely to make it more authentic to the original Japanese. They called it Rurouni Kenshin. And I auditioned again, and this time I got hired again as Kenshin. It was kind of interesting. They used a lot of the same people that they used in Samurai X, but they were in different roles. I was, I think, the only person that, to my knowledge, that was in the same part as Kenshin each time. And that's how I got into dubbing anime. Just by accident, I happened to be painting someone's house.
I will be faster translating, but man, that was beautiful. Jhon, seré breve, no te preocupes. Ahí viene cómo lo encontraron, Jhon. Y creo que tú hablaste una historia similar con el señor Humberto Vélez. Ahí viene como, él estaba pintando una casa de un amigo. Él era el director del anime, bueno, del doblaje del anime Soccer Boy, yo creo que te acuerdas. Digamos que el amigo estaba como, bueno, pero Richard, para hacer anime tienes que tener ciertos elementos. Resulta que la esposa de él, del amigo, estuvo en una fiesta con Richard y Richard hizo una broma de voces. O sea, Richard puede hacer un montón de acentos. Al principio lo contrataron para algo que se llamaba el Walla Sound, que es cuando contratan a, por ejemplo, te pueden llamar a ti a que tú digas Walla, 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 que es para generar el eco en las producciones. Pero resulta que la voz, o sea, Richard fue el único que entró a tiempo y lo hizo bien. Todas las personas que estaban en Soccer Boy eran directores de animes. Un datazo. Al principio en Estados Unidos, pues, Rurouni Kenshin se vendía como Samurai X, Samurai X. Y resulta que rehicieron, yo no sabía este dato, rehicieron la serie en Estados Unidos, al poco tiempo sí la llamaron Rurouni Kenshin, y la única persona que, o sea, todo el mundo, el elenco le tocó hacer otros papeles. Richard fue el único que llamaron para seguir haciendo de Kenshin Himura, y dice que de ahí el resto es de historia.
No, qué increíble historia. Lo felicitamos por eso. Bueno, yo digo también esta parte que en la cual me gustó mucho la pregunta que le hiciste es acerca sobre Sí, me gustaría saber sobre Guns, Licencia para Seducir y el cortometraje Dandelions, que para poder culminar con mi pregunta y tú completar.
Ok, pero entonces le hablo de que le pregunto sobre los proyectos o le comento que te gustaron.
No, sobre los dos proyectos.
Ok. Jhon is. This is the last question from Jhon. I got another question because I love that Jhon not only watch movies but short films, and he loved the work that you did on Dandelions, but also he loved the I don't know the name in English. It is licencia para seducir, something like license to seduce. So anything you wanna say about these projects, go ahead, and I got another question.
Now, say, what was the first one that you mentioned? There was light
Dandelions?
bandeos,
No, dandelions, the flower, dandelions. It's a short film.
dandelion.
Dandelion, sorry.
Oh my gosh, you saw
Yes,
that?
Jhon watch it.
Jhon, my
Jhon
gosh.
on that. And later I will tell you another title that is really indie.
Oh my God. I can't believe you saw that.
Don't watch it, yeah.
Yeah.
Make Jhon happy, please.
Well, that was I was with an agent and she had another client who was a filmmaker, and he had written this movie, Dandelions. It's just a short little movie. She said, would you like, can you be in this movie? And I said, well, sure. And she said, okay. And you know what? I don't even remember. I remember filming the scene. What was interesting is that the actor that was he played a gay prostitute, and I played a client, and we have this sex together. Neither one of us are gay. Acting, and I guess he used it as kind of a demonstration reel for his abilities, or he submitted it to film festivals. I guess it was a pretty good movie, though, wasn't it? It was a short. Did you see it, Andres? Did you see it?
No, it was Jhon, and I will ask Jhon where, because I got another question. I'm just translating, but Jhon, ¿dónde la viste? Dandelions.
Yeah.
Esa la vi en Dailymotion y la de Cons, esa la vi por Vimeo. Tito.
And Jhon is telling that he watched Dandelions on Dailymotion and another movie that is called Guns. He watched it on Vimeo. Yes.
Okay. So
Jhon is crazy, and I got another question later.
Okay, so I have to go back to this. When I was young, and I was very pretty. My face was very pretty, and in college, I played in a couple of plays. There were a couple of plays that needed roles where a man could look like a woman, would dress like a woman and be convincing. And so I knew I could do that. I did another play where I played a porn star who is a woman now, but used to be a man. He had a sex change operation, became a porn star. It was a comedy, silly but fun. And then I did a movie. What was it called? I think it was originally called Painted Dolls, and they changed the title to the Night Stalker, and it was a low budget kind of a science fiction horror movie. It was pretty good. I played a Cuban what do I call it? A Cuban trans prostitute again. So I knew I could do these kinds of roles, and I have a friend who had a friend who was a casting director. My friend calls me, and he says, "Hey, my friend is looking for a guy to cast somebody in this movie, someone who can look like a woman. It's the part of a hitman and his partner, and they dress up like women when they make their assassinations, so that the witnesses around think that two women did it when actually it was two men." And that's because I knew I could look like a woman, at least from a distance. and that's how I got that part in Guns. And then from Guns, the director liked me, and he kept hiring me back in other roles to act like a clown and be the comic relief in these, kind of thriller, silly movies.
And I'm happy that Jhon asked it. I'm happy that Jhon watched it. Whenever Jhon bring out those strange movies, I know he watched it. I will translate, man. I know Jhon surprised you, and Jhon will be happy with the answer. Pues Jhon, lo mataste, ¿no? Seré breve, Jhon. Resulta que él de joven, y creo que tú te acuerdas de las películas, él era muy hermoso, y por eso le dan papeles, por ejemplo, de hecho hay una película que se llama Night Stalker, donde él interpretó, no sé si la viste, como un asesino cubano trans. Lo que pasa es que en ambas producciones, tanto en Dandelions como en esta de Guns, te cuento algo, él como que le podían dar papeles y no tenía problema con eso, en obras de teatro incluso de mujeres, por la belleza que él tenía. Y creo que tú has visto más películas del director de Guns, ¿cierto? Por eso es que tú ves muchísimo a Richard en esas películas. El director le gustó tanto el trabajo que él le decía, yo quiero que seas como el alivio cómico en medio de estas producciones tan fuertes. Entonces lo hiciste feliz. Él dice que incluso que no le sintió mal, porque tú sabes que en Dandelions hay una escena de amor entre hombres. Dice que no, que es actuación, que él sabe que ese corto quedó muy bien y que ha ido a festivales.
Excelente. Thank you so much. Ahora sí, Andrés, la última pregunta.
Now it's my turn, man. And I bring you now, continuing with the hidden gems. I know that you did a lot of voice work on video games, and I'm so happy because one of my favorite video games from the 90s is Silent Bomber, man. For me, it's a hidden gem, that video game. But also you did voices for the Kessen series, and it's crazy because you had made voices for big video games, huge, budget, but small games. Anything you wanna tell us about working on video games, man? For me, it will be a pleasure. I just needed to mention that you appeared in one of my two favorite video games of all time. So go ahead.
Again, I just got lucky. Just, you audition for a video game, and you're auditioning against hundreds and hundreds of people. And for some reason, the director picks your voice. And, I did one for Halo. And I had no idea it was for Halo. I didn't know what it was for, because they didn't tell you what it was for. You never knew. Even when you were doing it, you never knew what the title of the show was you were working on. And I had just gotten a voice agent for the first time. And I had been using for my auditions, I had bought a little thing from I don't, Best Buy. Do you have Best Buy's stores in Colombia? They're electronic department stores, and I bought this little thing. It was about the size. It wasn't even the size of a cell phone, really, to record my voice auditions on. And my agent, I did about 3 or 4 auditions on this thing, and my agent, she says to me, Richard, you need to invest in some actual equipment. It's not that your auditions aren't good. It's that the sound quality just doesn't sound professional. So I went, oh, all right. So I went on and I spent hundreds of dollars on a microphone and this and that, right? And she calls me up the day that I got my news system up and running. She calls me up and she says, hey, Richard, remember when I told you that your sound quality wasn't very professional sounding? Well, you got a job out of this thing. I actually got my first 3 jobs out of this little thing. Anyway, so I'm working on, at the time, I didn't know that there was any difference. It sounded okay to me. And now I listen to it and I think, oh boy, how did I ever, it's embarrassing. And yet I still got these jobs. Anyway, so I'm working on this Halo thing, and we take a break. And at the time, I didn't think there was any difference in the sound quality. And I asked the director, I said, say, my agent said that there was a difference in the sound quality of my audition as compared to others. Did you find that was the case? And he said to me, to be honest, I don't remember what the sound quality of your audition was. All I remember is that I picked your voice out of 900 others. Yeah. Wow. 900. And it gives you an idea of the competition of, so every time you go up for something, just to get the audition, you're going against literally over 1,000 different people. And then when you do get the audition, you've got another, 1,000 or so people that you've got to compete against. So getting any kind of a job in the voice world, especially, is really rare. That's one thing that really stands out in my mind about getting the voice work for games. That's I find that. Well, you go ahead and translate. I'm giving you these long answers. How can you possibly remember what I'm saying?
And always in my brain, because I got good memory, and man, no, I'm processing it because I'm a gamer. I'm not professional, but I love video games, and I play it back in the 90s. And yes, voices are a thing that I always kept on. So it's crazy, man. If you want to continue, go ahead, man. In fact, I didn't remember the voices because like I said.
Yeah, I don't, so I got that. I don't know why I get certain jobs. I do know why I got one job, actually. It wasn't a video game. It was because it was when I first got into the dubbing anime. There was a fellow named Bob Bergen. Maybe Jhon has heard of him. He's very well-respected voice actor. He does the voice of Porky Pig for Warner Brothers cartoons, and there was a big audition for this series called what was it called? I can't remember the name of it.
Describe it. Describe the series. What was the subject or something?
Well, it used to be Gatchamon, and they redid. Yeah, they redid it, and not Digimon.
Gatchamon. No,
Gatchamon. It was about these. Yeah, it was about these pilots, these space pilots, and fighting the bad guys, and I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, they had this big audition to replace the lead voice in it, because the lead voice had been cast. It was Bob Bergen, and he got the job doing Porky Pig, which pays a lot more. And he had to make a choice, Porky Pig or this anime thing. And anime really hardly didn't pay it still doesn't pay that much. And so he left, but he'd already done like 10 episodes. So they were looking for someone who could sound like him, so they wouldn't have to replace all of the dialogue. And I got cast, and when I started recording, I realized they cast me. I had to redo all of the speaking lines, the words. But when there were efforts, I sounded exactly like he did. So they saved money and time casting me, because my grunts and groans sounded like his. That's why I got that job. And it was called Eagle Riders. Eagle Riders, that was the name of it. And what's an interesting about that was that Bryan Cranston was doing dubbing at those days, and he played the voice. I played Hunter, the pilot, the captain. He played the voice of Joe, who was the co-pilot. Yeah, I met him. I met him years afterwards. There was a strike, and we were on the picket line. I said, "Hey, Brian, you don't remember me, but we did this show together called Eagle Riders, and you were Joe, and I was Hunter. You were my co-pilot." And he looks at me and he says, "It's on my resume." The guy's been nominated for an Oscar. He's won Tony Awards. He's a big movie star now. That little anime thing is on his resume. Good for him.
But I remember the series, and the name in Japanese is Kagaku Ninja Tai Gatchaman.
Yeah, it was originally Gatchaman in Japanese. Yeah.
But what else good? You want to continue talking, or you let me translate? Whatever you want, go ahead, man. I'm just blessed. I'm happy.
That's okay. You go ahead and tell Jhon. If you can remember half of what I said, then you're a genius.
Oh, thank you. I will do my best. Jhon, seré breve, pero ¿quieres oro? Te tengo oro. Por cierto, edítalo, ¿no? Jhon, espero no haya perdido lo anterior y hazle por favor un video. Yo te paso las voces que ha hecho. Jhon, empezaré por el final, porque este tipo de historias son las que te fascinan. Estuvo en la huelga de actores, una huelga de actores, y ahí estaba Bryan Cranston. Él se le acercó a Bryan y le dijo: Bryan, no sé si me recuerdes, pero tú y yo en Eagle Riders, que es Gatchaman, sea, algo así creo que acá se llamaría como los halcones. Él era el papel, tú sabes, del halcón. Y estaba Joe, el ayudante. Este era Bryan Cranston, cuando empezó. Y ahí de que el hijo Bryan dijo, claro que sí, eso está en mi hoja de vida. Entonces dice que él le dio mucha risa, porque pues imagínate, ¿no? Pues, Bryan Cranston, Emmy, Tony, Oscar, nominaciones y premios, y él dice que todavía se acuerda de ese proyecto y que le gusta. John, lo de los videojuegos es una locura. Él dice que, por cierto, él llegó a ese proyecto de los de Gatchaman, porque tú lo conoces, a Bot, la voz de Porky. Resulta que él cobra carísimo, pero le dijo, oye, amigo, está este proyecto. En anime hay un dato, no pagan tanto como pagan por ejemplo, en voces de series estadounidenses. Dijo, amigo, mira, está este trabajo, yo no lo puedo aceptar porque, pues, tú sabes, no, no podrían pagarme a la voz de Porky. Dijo, no, no importa, él dice que él hizo la voz exacta, o sea, imagínate, a la voz de... Entonces, él llegó a esa serie sobre videojuegos, John, increíble. Cuando él audicionó para Halo, nadie, o sea, no le decían para qué proyecto era. Resulta que él compró una grabadorcita sería pues en Best Buy, en esta unidad que hice como una tienda de electrónica, y la grabadora era horrible. La amiga le dijo, pero ¿cómo vas a grabar voces en esa grabadora si es horrible? Le dieron 3 trabajos. Cuando llegó a Halo, él le preguntó al director, oye, ven, me dijeron que ese tipo de grabaciones no son buenas. Le dijo el tipo, mira, yo no recuerdo nada si tu grabación era buena, solo te quiero decir algo, le ganaste a 900 personas. Que dice que él ni siquiera, cuando lo llamaron a Assassin's Creed, o sea, imagínate, ni siquiera él tenía un agente ni nada, y él dice que con los videojuegos pasó así, que él a veces ni sabe a qué audiciona, pero que él sabe que la gente lo recuerda. Yo le dije que todos los juegos que le ha hecho yo recuerdo, por eso te digo que quiero que le hagas un video, yo te pago los videos, nada, John, qué entrevistota.
No, Sota. Y ya por último, ¿cómo define su trabajo en una palabra?
And like always John does, how do you define your career in one word?
One word. Loco.
I don't need to translate that.
Loco. I mean, that's every actor will, if they're honest, that's what they'll, because we have no control over, I mean, unless you're a big movie star. If you're a big I mean, big, then you get to turn down scripts and say, no, I don't like this one. Or you get to say, I like this one, but I have some ideas about my cat. Oh yeah, I was just saying we have no control unless we're a big star. And then we say, I want to change this. I want to change that. I want to add lines. I have lines that I want to put in. Then you can do it. Otherwise, we're just like leaves blowing in the wind, and we're lucky we get what we can, and hence we get all of our careers are a little crazy.
Yo creo que no intento traducir, ¿no? El loco, que él dice que de pronto si fuera una gran estrella, él tendría incluso la capacidad de cambiar las líneas, pero que él dice que todo ha sido muy loco. Bueno, te lo traduzco todo.
Sí, él está, mejor dicho, inspirado. Agradecerle y bueno, el espacio para que diga redes sociales, un saludo para Colombia e invita a la gente a seguir todo, el extenso trabajo que ha tenido.
Okay, now the camera is yours. You can send a big hi to Colombia, to wherever you want. Tell your social media so people can follow you. If you wanna use or send a big hi later with one of the voices that you have made, go ahead. If not, use the Richard boy. By the way, no Richard. My name is Andres Ricardo. No, Andres Ricardo Richard. So I'm happy to know that.
Well, thanks. I really don't. I have I don't. I have a Facebook account, but I don't. I very rarely go on it because I don't like to get involved in some of the craziness. But you know, thanks. I don't know if I could do it now. As Kenshin, I would say, I'm very glad to have been on your show. That I am. Nice to have met you.
And by the way, yeah, I know why the Colombian actor that did the voice in Latin America use that tone. Yeah, it's very similar.
Yeah.
Did you have listened the dubbing in Latin America? It's one of the few dubbings made here in Colombia, man. It's crazy. Because in Colombia, there is no like a big industry like Mexico, no. Colombia is really rarely that they do dubbing, but Samurai X was dubbed in Colombia. Man.
Well, you know what? I bet that he auditioned against a lot of other Hispanic voices, and that he got chosen, and that's why. Probably because his voice sounded closer to the the character than I bet that would be the reason, because and good for him. There's a lot of good actors in Mexico and Puerto Rico, right? Yeah.
No, that's like a trivia, and few people know it. And yeah, man, I not need to tell you. For me, the voice of Kenshi in English is one of the most beautiful. It's really beautiful, that voice, because all the lore of the character, man. So he's really pure. Ojigapas, we know. John, pues ahí Kenshi Himura te saludo.
And I in the original Japanese, the voice was a woman, which was like, that's just strange. It's just strange to me, because it sounded like a woman. Japanese, the voices they use in their animation, they're all really good actors, terrific actors. But I think they cast people over if the audience recognizes their voice rather than if the voice is proper for the character. And sometimes you'll see a woman playing a role like Kenshin, or you'll see an old man. You can tell he's an older man voicing a young character, and it to our Western ears, it's what are they doing? What are they doing? That's not right. What's wrong with you people? But it works for Japan. So
I know they call them seiyus, the voice actors and actresses, and it's another culture, man. It's crazy. It only works in Japan, but well,
yeah,
good. But no, I will translate. And thank you, John. Él dice que obviamente, no, tú lo sabes, ¿no? Yo le conté del caso del Kenshin colombiano, que esperemos esté un día en el canal. Yo le dije que ya me di cuenta por qué la voz es tan similar a la de en inglés. ¿Ya te diste cuenta? Y que en Japón la voz de Kenshin es mujer, ¿no? Tú sabes. Que él dice que es una locura, que cómo hacen eso. Pero nada, John, yo creo que la foto, o lo que tú quieras, yo estoy re feliz.
La foto, vamos a tomar la foto.
And now we are going to take the picture so we can share to the social media. I will try to show the Ryu because you made the voice of Ryu, one of the Street Fighter. So go ahead.
Let me see that. Oh, that's
Ryu.
Is that
Ryu?
Ryu.
You made the Ryu. I know you made Vega, and it's crazy because Vega is Spanish. Oh man! But you made Ryu in one of the series. Yeah,
I did. I remember the name.
Yes, a moment, please. Un moment.
Pero ya salió mi Ryu. Tienes que decirme.
Perfecto, sí, salió bien. Bien, 10 de 10. Richard, muchas gracias por la oportunidad, por el espacio, completo. Take care, man. Bienvenido siempre.
Thank
No,
you.
thanks, Richard. Sorry for
Thanks
the
to you.
inconveniences, and no,
Sí,
it was
sorry,
an honor.
sorry.
Nah, no problem. No problema, no te preocupes.
Ok, gracias.
Okay, ciao.
Thank you so much. Chao, chao.
Chao.